Alfa Romeo MiTo is an Italian mini-hatch rival, a three-door supermini with premium pretensions, sharp Italian styling and plenty of flair for the fashion-conscious car buyer. As well as taking on the ubiquitous Mini, it also goes up against the Audi A1, DS3 and other stylish superminis such the Fiat 500 and Vauxhall Adam. Interior doesn't match the exterior despite the promising exterior. Things become a bit more disappointing when you jump inside the MiTo. A harsh ride, poor noise insulation, lack of cabin storage space and interior quality that falls short of the standards of its rivals all conspire to spoil the experience. The various different plastics used throughout the interior feel cheap and low quality, as do the minor controls and switchgear. DNA driving modes, a key ingredient in the way the MiTo drives is its DNA system. It comprises of 3 driving modes selected via a switch ahead of the gear lever: dynamic, normal and all-weather. They change the power steering, engine and traction control settings, among other factors, and the car feels markedly different depending on which mode is selected. Engine response, for instance, is much more immediate in dynamic mode, which also makes the steering far heavier. Depending on your point of view, it's either a fun gadget or a frustrating system that makes you wish Alfa had picked one optimum setting and stuck with it rather than offering several compromised choices. Or, failing that, a fourth option that lets you select your own individual settings from the options available. On the whole, though, the MiTo is a sharp little car to drive, with quick responses through the steering and well-contained body roll. It doesn't feel quite like an Alfa should, however, it suffers with a firmer ride than almost all of its most direct rivals, which sullies the experience somewhat. Model updates throughout its life, the MiTo has been subject to several tweaks to keep it fresh and up-to-date, most notably with what's under the bonnet. A year after its launch, Alfa raised the bar with its multi-air petrol models. Incorporating new technology that makes it run more efficiently, the MiTo was given more power, lower emissions and improved fuel economy. There was also the introduction of the sporty 170 horsepower cloverleaf model, a return of an iconic performance badge that has since been discontinued. To say the MiTo range with all its comings and goings is confusing would be an understatement. Fiat's clever 2-cylinder twin-air petrol engine debuted in 2012, as featured in the smaller 500, producing more power than its naturally aspirated alternatives and boasting much improved fuel economy claims and lower emissions. In autumn 2013, Alfa announced a range of updates including a touchscreen multimedia system and a new version of the twin-air engine with 105 horsepower. The MiTo also got a bit of makeup with some extra chrome detailing outside on some models, and black mesh on others, tinted rear windows and a different finish for the headlights together with new seat fabrics and dashboard color schemes. The verdict: buyers who opt for the MiTo over its rivals can be confident of owning a car that's far less common, more attractively priced and better equipped as well as more practical. Couple that with strong resale values and affordable lease and running costs and it's clear that this is the first small Alfa in a very long time that appeals to both the heart and the head. However, the inside of the MiTo hasn't aged as well as the outside, making it feel quite dated when you jump behind the wheel, especially when compared with the Mini. The driving experience also doesn't quite match up to the likes of the Mini or Audi A1. Should this premium supermini be on your shopping list? Read the full Alfa Romeo MiTo hatchback review to find out. Petrol-dominated lineup: 1 frugal diesel, something to suit most tastes, a range of feisty petrol engines and 1 eco-friendly diesel power the Alfa Romeo MiTo. 4 petrol engines to choose from. It's good news for petrol fans, as the MiTo is available with a choice of 4 engines to pick from. The range kicks off with a 78 horsepower 1.4-litre unit, which is only recommendable if you're buying a MiTo on a budget, and you only use it around town. With a 13.0-second 0 to 62 miles per hour time and a top speed of 103 miles per hour, it's not one for sitting on the motorway in 4 hours on end. A meager 115 Nm of torque doesn't help when you want to overtake, either. It's also the least economical and least efficient model in the range, despite its modest power output. A nippier proposition is the 875cc 2-cylinder twin-air engine, producing 105 horsepower. This engine has a really buzzy character. It's similar to a motorbike engine that feels big-hearted thanks to a really growly engine note that sounds like you're going much faster than you really are. It'll take the MiTo from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 11.4 seconds and onto a top speed of 114 miles per hour, so it's still not the most rapid engine, but it's much more economical than the 1.4. Find all the figures in the running costs section, and feels usefully more punchy thanks to 145 Nm of torque, a turbocharger and an eager nature. Providing more get up and go is a 1.4-litre multi-air engine, producing 140 horsepower and 230 Nm of torque, using a 6-speed dual-clutch, Alfa Corsa TCT, automatic gearbox. There's no manual available here. It's good for a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 8.1 seconds and a 131 miles per hour top speed, making it much quicker than the twin air. The top spec Veloce is powered by a 170 horsepower version of the 1.4 multi-air engine, also exclusively using a TCT gearbox. There's a slight increase in torque to 250 Nm, and the 0 to 62 miles per hour time falls to 7.3 seconds. While top speed is rated at 137 miles per hour. Just one diesel option if you want diesel power for your MiTo. There's only one choice, as it's unlikely many buyers will be specifying a car with fuel coming from the black pump. It's a 1.3-litre turbocharged unit, snappily badged JTDM2, offering 95 horsepower and 200 Nm of torque. Accelerating from 0 to 62 miles per hour takes a leisurely 12.5 seconds. And it will go on to reach 113 miles per hour in reality, though it doesn't feel as slow as the figures suggest. However, you need to master your gear changes. It's easy to get caught in the wrong gear at low revs. Maximum torque is available from 1,500 revolutions per minute, but peak power is available at 3,500 revolutions per minute. To get the most out of this MiTo, you'll need to rev it quite hard, for example on the motorway, but in doing so you're made aware that it's a diesel engine under the bonnet. Engines no longer available. The 135 horsepower multi-air turbocharged 1.4-litre petrol engine, which replaced a previous 120 horsepower version, offers lively performance with good low-down pulling power. It will sprint from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 8.2 seconds and offers a great balance of performance and economy. Top of the range was the 1.4 TB multi-air QV, Quadrifoglio, Italian for 4-valve, with 170 horsepower. This powers the Quadrifoglio Verde model, previously known as the Cloverleaf, but now called Veloce. Keep up, from standstill to 62 miles per hour in 7.5 seconds and then onto a top speed of 136 miles per hour. It's rapid enough, but if outright pace is your thing, you'll probably opt for faster alternatives like a Mini Cooper S hatch or even an Audi S1. The smallest twin-air 2-cylinder petrol added to the range in 2012 with 85 horsepower. It delivers adequate performance, with 0 to 62 miles per hour taking 12.5 seconds, but it has to be worked hard to accelerate the MiTo or to maintain an acceptable motorway cruising speed. Alfa Romeo claims the twin-air can average 67.3 miles per gallon, but you'll have to drive incredibly gently to get anywhere near that. To confuse things further, there were two diesel engines available earlier in the MiTo's life. First up was a 1.3-litre JTDM2 unit with 85 horsepower and a 12.9 second 0 to 62 miles per hour time, while there was also a 1.6-litre unit with a more impressive 120 horsepower on offer. This had a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of less than 10 seconds and offered strong in-gear pace and good refinement. Sharp handling and alpha-tread driving modes tailor experience, firm ride and vague steering. Though the MiTo is reasonably agile but is let down a little by vague steering, no matter which driving mode you've selected. This is controlled via an electronic system fitted to the car which Alfa Romeo calls DNA, which stands for dynamic, natural and/or weather. This enables drivers to toggle between 3 driving modes with different levels of responsiveness via a switch ahead of the gear lever. Holding the switch forward for a second selects dynamic, which delays the intervention of the traction and stability control systems, reduces the level of power assistance in the steering and results in a firmer suspension setup. It's a little more engaging for the driver but less comfortable than normal mode, plus the steering feels very eager to self-center. Pulling the switch back selects all weather, which results in a dulled throttle response and earlier intervention from the stability control system for better control of the vehicle in difficult conditions. The DNA system was revised slightly in 2012. Natural used to be called normal, and every time the car started it defaulted to this mode. Now, though, it remembers what you had the car in last time you drove it, and stays in this mode. In all modes, though, the MiTo serves up tidy body control with very little roll, thanks to that firmer suspension setup, and the steering is quick to respond, if lacking in communication back to the driver. Aging interior feels dated. Taller drivers may struggle to get comfy. Plenty of equipment, though what gives away the Mitos' advancing age is the interior. It's simply not as appealing as the smart exterior styling. Although there's a soft touch dashboard panel, the majority of plastics used are quite hard and unappealing, especially on the doors where you're likely to rest your arms and be in contact with it. The touchscreen infotainment system, while easy to operate, is quite small and low set, while the dials can be hard to read if you want to glance down quickly, especially the speedometer with small digits and a fiddly-looking trip computer screen in between the instruments. Visibility isn't a strong suit, either, with thick pillars obstructing the view rearwards, but at least the door mirrors are big and it's fairly easy to find a comfortable driving position. Supportive and comfy seats in the Mito firm right up sets the piece. Some refinement issues, two comfort levels in the Mito are good in some ways, but less so in others. Air conditioning and electric windows are standard, and the seats deserve special mention for their deep cushioning, although they can be tricky to adjust owing to awkwardly positioned handles. Rear seat space isn't too bad either, certainly better than a mini hatch, although headroom might be tight for passengers close to 6 feet tall, while the small rear windows make things feel quite dark. However, excessive engine, road and wind noise, mainly around the pillarless doors, is noticeable, especially on cars fitted with 17-inch wheels or larger. Ride quality isn't wonderful either, bumps and jolts in the road surface making themselves known more keenly than we'd like, which takes the edge off the experience somewhat. Not all drivers will be able to get comfortable, either. Many will find there's not enough adjustment in the steering wheel, feeling too high for smaller drivers. The wheel also feels quite big for the size of car. All Mito models are well equipped. Even entry-level models have lots of kit. Several options packs to add. The Alfa Romeo MiTo is made up the following trim levels: Standard MiTo, Super, Special and Veloce. Standard Alfa Romeo MiTo hatchback equipment rather handily. The entry point to the MiTo range is the MiTo. It comes with 16-inch alloy wheels, 5.0-inch Uconnect infotainment system with Bluetooth, USB and O inputs, DAB radio and voice control, aircon, leather-covered gear lever and steering wheel, electrically adjustable door mirrors, 7 airbags. Step up to Super for this extra kit. 17-inch alloy wheels, front fog lights, rear parking sensors, cruise control, front armrest, passenger seat height adjustment with lumbar adjustment on both front seats, cloth, eco leather upholstery, chrome windows, surrounds, aluminium pedals for a slightly sportier feel. The Special adds 17-inch grey alloy wheels, flat-bottomed steering wheel with red stitching, grey trim for the door mirrors and light surrounds, privacy glass, red brake calipers, Alcantara sports seats with red stitching, black headlining, sports dials with white illumination. At the top of the range is the MiTo Veloce, with 18-inch alloy wheels, Alpha active suspension system, adaptive damping, Uconnect nav infotainment system, twin chrome exhaust pipes, optional Alfa Romeo MiTo hatchback extras. There are plenty of options available on the MiTo, some of which have been bundled into packs: Sport Pack, Sport Styles, front fog lights, red brake calipers and tinted rear windows, Comfort Pack, front center armrest with storage, lumbar adjustment for front seats, 12 volts power socket, rear parking sensors, Visibility Pack, automatic headlights and wipers, electrically folding mirrors, auto dimming rear view mirror, lasso pack, climate control, front center armrest, heated front seats, rear parking sensors, third rear headrest, leather upholstery. Several of the options in the packs above are available as individual options, but we'd recommend sticking with the packs to get more kit for less money. 5 stars for the MiTo, but that was under old testing regime. No driver assistance tech available. The MiTo scored a 5-star rating for adult occupant protection in official Euro NCAP crash tests, the maximum rating available at the time of its launch, and comes with electronic stability control as standard, as well as 7 airbags, including a driver's knee airbag. However, that was under pre-2009 conditions that were less stringent than they are now. For example, the MiTo isn't available with any advanced driver assistance tech such as autonomous emergency braking like many of its much more modern rivals. There are 2 ISOFIX points located in the rear, but families might struggle with fitting child seats as the MiTo is only available as a 3-door. 3-door body isn't the most practical, but there's more space than in a mini hatch. Decent sized boot, but hard to load heavy items. The MiTo is only available as a 3-door, so those looking at one won't have practicality high on their list of priorities. Despite this, interior space is actually quite good compared with its rivals, especially the Mini, but it's still no people carrier. As standard, it's a 4-seater, with lots of room in the front and enough space for average height adults in the back. It feels more cramped than it really is due to dark headlining in some models and small rear windows, but it's still hardly spacious. A 5th seat can be specified at extra cost, but you wouldn't want to be in that seat for very long, even if you're a child. The MiTo is a small car, so you won't struggle with fitting it into tight spaces in town or down small roads. However, the small amount of glass means visibility is a little restricted, especially out the back, but large door mirrors will help with maneuvering, and parking sensors are standard on all but the entry-level models. At 270 litres, the MiTo's boot is a good size that's also square and deep. However, the loading lip is very high, which isn't particularly helpful if you're loading heavy or awkward items. It'll expand by folding the seats down, but the MiTo is by no means a car to be doing regular car boot sales in.